I'm Jazz, welcome back to my channel. It is officially Valentine's Day season, and for this week's video, I decided to make some cinnamon rolls. But not just any type of cinnamon rolls, we're gonna Valentine's Day up these cinnamon rolls. We're gonna make them into little hearts. We're also gonna be dyeing them pink. I have never done this before. I've made this cinnamon roll recipe a handful of times. However, the execution process is fairly new to me. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe. It means the absolute world to me. Let's get to baking. First thing you're gonna need is some milk. We only need 3/4 cups of it. Now you may have noticed I am in a very familiar setting. This is my old apartment. I'm actually cat sitting for my friends while they're out of town. As a little surprise for them when they get back, I'm making them cinnamon rolls. Unfortunately, all of my utensils are back home. I didn't really think this one through, so I'm gonna use whatever it is they have. Now we're gonna take this and put it in the microwave. We're gonna heat this up so that it's warm, but we don't want it too hot because this is where the yeast will be going. So, come here often. This one's a little hot. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna have to wait till she cools down just a little bit. Now I did write in my recipe book that it should be 40 seconds and I stupidly did it for a minute, so that one's on me. Also, great time to mention, this is not my recipe. I think we know this at this point, but I don't know where the recipe came from because I wrote it a while ago. If you recognize this recipe, just know that it's not mine. So I'm just gonna transfer this into the bigger bowl because it's all gonna go there anyway. I love working with yeast, but I also hate it because if this is not a good temperature, she will die. She will perish. I'm gonna be taking 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast. I'm then gonna be adding just some of the sugar. We want to feed the yeast, so I'm just gonna add maybe about half of that to this yeast bowl, and I'm gonna let it bloom. I'm gonna let it sit for about 5 minutes. Hopefully, this was a good enough temperature to work with. If not, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
A few moments later.
I won't lie to you, I did have to restart. Do you see all of this foam-ish substance here? That's what we want. So we're good. Yay. Okay, next thing we need to do is take 1/4 cup of butter melted. That was in there for about 20 seconds. Also, I did end up heating the milk at 40 seconds and it was the perfect temperature. So what we're gonna do is the rest of the sugar we will add, followed by the butter. And then we need 2 eggs, but 1 full egg and 1 egg yolk. And then 1 regular egg. And then we're gonna whisk. It's time for flour and some salt. 3/4 teaspoons of salt. So I'm just like this. That probably was not 3/4 of a teaspoon, but we move. We need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Instead of the full cup, I'm using 1/2 cup so that it's just easier to dig through this glass. But if you have a cup, it's 3 cups. If you only have a 1/2 cup, it's 6 cups. Quick maths.
Everyday man's on the block. Smoke trees.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will be needing extra flour for kneading. At this point, I also am going to take my red food coloring and place it in here before the dough is kneaded. So we're just gonna fold this together. This is a little messy. Okay, now that a dough has kind of formed, bring over the flour that was on our surface anyway and add just a little bit more. Scoop this out. Normally, I would say if you're worried about staining your hands, I would wear gloves, but I've clearly forgotten. We're just gonna roll with it, no pun intended. I added a little bit of extra flour on top, coat our hands with flour, and start kneading. Okay, I've been kneading for about 5 minutes. I'm pinching the dough at the bottom. And look at this smooth little uncooked Krabby Patty. We love it. And this is her in all her glory. She still bounces back to the touch. Now I'm gonna put this in a larger bowl that's oiled and I'm gonna cover it with plastic wrap for an hour. It has been an hour. Our dough has risen. I'm gonna prep the cinnamon sugar mixture. I'm gonna take some golden yellow sugar. Now I know traditionally it is supposed to be dark brown sugar, but if we're being for real, this is cheaper. So this is fun. We will be eyeballing this. I do have measurements for it. It is supposed to be 2/3 of a cup, but I can't be asked. And I have some cinnamon. I have 1.5 tablespoons in my recipe, and I'm gonna mix this together with a fork. Now that we have that one prepped, take a rolling pin, cover it with some flour, unleash our thick madame, We're gonna roll this into a beautiful rectangle. I say beautiful, but you know what? We're gonna roll this until it looks like a rectangle. You want to alternate while you roll so that everything is as even as humanly possible. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Remember how we only used half that stick of butter? Well, that other half is going to stay with us. It should be room temperature. It should be softened by now. And we're gonna spread that all over the surface of our dough. This is a 1/4 cup of unsalted butter. I really did want to just use my fingers, to be honest. I shan't let my intrusive thoughts win. Now that all of our surface is covered, it's time to sprinkle. Believe it or not, I'm gonna add just a little bit more. I'm just gonna press this in very lightly with my hands so that it sticks to the butter. And now it's time to roll.
I'll roll up, shorty, I'll roll up.
As I'm rolling, I'm slightly pulling on the dough towards me so that we get a nice spiral in the center. Nice. This looks very suggestive. It's big, hairy, and pink.
It was an Alaskan bullworm!
I typically cut this down to 9 so that I can make as much as possible, but realistically, 8 decent sized cinnamon rolls should be what you get out of this. So I marked it with my butter knife, and I'm gonna make 3 slits on each half. And there's one. Now, I did say I wanted to turn these into hearts. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stand them up. I'm gonna push them down and then make like a little indent at the top with my fingers. Just pressing them in and then doing this sort of motion. I don't know how to explain what I'm doing. It's this motion, if this means anything to you. Pinch out the sides to make that middle part kind of go away. And a heart. That's kind of cute. All right, and now for the rest of you. I can't promise you that these will stay the shape that we've tried to make them because I've never done this before. I am so glad I decided to only make 8. This shit is time consuming. Bing, bop, boom, boom, bing, bop, bam. Type of shit I'm on you wouldn't understand. Last one. Take our baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and we are going to put these on here to proof for another 30 minutes. Cover this with a towel or again with some plastic wrap, and I will see you guys just before we're about to put them in. All right, these have been proofing for about 30 minutes. They have puffed up a little bit. Now normally I would just put these in the oven and tell you that when they're done, they're done. However, before we do that, we're gonna put some cream on them.
What did he say?
This is 10% half and half cream. I don't really know which cream you're supposed to use. I just saw this on TikTok, and the way that they make your cinnamon rolls an incredible experience. We don't want to like hover everywhere, you know? And now these go in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. As always, I will see you when they are done, when they're finished, and we can try one together. Well, they didn't stay hearts. Womp womp. But regardless, they're still pink, so that counts for something. I ideally would have liked to have had cream cheese frosting on this, but like the dumbass I am, I completely forgot while I was at the grocery store to buy some. So unfortunately, this is just gonna be plain old vanilla icing. And what I'm gonna do is take some icing sugar / powdered sugar, put some in a bowl. Also, if anybody can tell me how the hell do I preserve icing sugar, because every time I buy it, I don't really use much of it, but after I use it and I store it away, I seal it real tight. The next time I open it, it tastes like freaking soap. What the hell is that all about? So if anybody has any tips, tricks, please let me know. A little bit of milk and a little bit of vanilla. Then just gonna mix this with a spoon. This is a very questionable color, but it's probably because of the vanilla. And now we just drizzle. Slay. That is the cinnamon rolls done. The Valentine's Day-esque cinnamon rolls. You got a coarse bottom, break it open. Get him! It's hot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. It means the absolute world to me. And I will see you guys in next week's video. It's gonna be a good one. Bye!